Hello, there's a fascinating article in the Financial Times today by a man called Robert Shrimsley, and it's much to be recommended. I'll get to that in the end. For now, it's worth noticing that the BBC have done a very interesting article and presentation about Rwanda and about the upcoming court case in the UK, which is going to question and challenge the Home Office's plans to send migrants, asylum seekers, refugees to be processed and to be retained in Rwanda. Now, a lot of the debate is on Rwanda itself. I think that's the wrong place to put the debate, but the BBC cites a charity called Medical Justice. Now, Medical Justice said of the 51 people who were told to go to Rwanda, 17 of them were examined by doctors, and of those 17, 14 were clinically, or there was clinical evidence of torture. 3 of them apparently were victims of trafficking. 15 had evidence of post-traumatic stress disorder. 11 had suicidal thoughts. 1 had actually attempted suicide. Now, what can we say about this? Because some of this evidence may be circumstantial, may be difficult to confirm, but certainly the policy that is put forward by Priti Patel is backed by the Foreign Office, places vulnerable people in a harmful situation. That must be the conclusion. Now, the Foreign Office says, we have been clear. Doesn't that sound like Liz Truss? We have been clear with the new arm gesture. She's been to a drama class and been given a lot of hand business to do, and she does it routinely. Liz Truss's hand jobs are simply astonishing. I mean, they're there at every television opportunity. Hand job moment. And we have been clear, she says, we have been clear from the start that no one will be relocated if it is unsafe or inappropriate for them. Our thorough assessment of Rwanda is that it is a fundamentally safe and secure country with a track record for supporting asylum seekers. Well, as far as I can see, the only track record that it's got is that Israel tried this policy in Rwanda and it failed. Rwanda also has appalling poverty, as referenced the other day in the podcast with the great Rory Stewart and Alistair Campbell. And there's appalling evidence of ongoing torture and human rights abuse in Rwanda. This is despite the fact that Rwanda is still recovering from a brutal and destructive civil war. Of course we want to help Rwanda. Of course we want to give it encouragement. Of course we want to bring it into the fold of sort of Western civilization and give it Western values and all that sort of stuff. Of course we want that. And I, for one, would hugely encourage travel to Rwanda. But I don't want to dump on Rwanda the people that we don't want. That's not a way forward. And the key to this whole issue is whether the UK has a right to ignore or offload its duties undertaken when it signed up to the 1951 Refugee Convention, which it partly devised anyway. The problem is wider. That Liz Truss wants to ignore things that go wrong, and she wants to brush things under the table, and she wants to delegate to other countries and to other things. She wants to offload criticism to other countries. It's just wrong. I mean, for example, she wants to squash the Boris investigation. Well, this wonderful article in the Financial Times I was looking at earlier, this says, well, she shouldn't do that. She shouldn't do that. She should simply ignore it. She should simply ignore it. She should. Uh, she might be compelled to stop it. Of course, she might be compelled to stop it because why? Why? Because she is fundamentally made in the same form as Boris. She is fundamentally a rule breaker. So just as Boris supposedly broke rules, so Liz Truss is breaking rules. So is Priti Patel breaking rules. It's not just the Rwanda rule, it's also the Northern Ireland Protocol. She is sending out signals to the rest of the world that rules don't matter. And this is quite important. So whether we disregard the destruction of Boris, that sort of revisionist history, whether we question the failure of lockdown, whether we did it too soon, too late, too long, that and the Rwanda mess, these simply cry out. These three things, the more they are emphasized, cry out to the electorate to look elsewhere. They tell the electorate this government has lost direction and no change of leader, whether it's Rishi Sunak or Liz Truss, can offer enough reassurance that this government should continue for the next 5 years. It cannot. It cannot. It is over. It is over. And the Conservative government simply needs to recognise that it's time to get off the stage.